You are listening to the Hiking Radio Network, where we talk the walk with shows by hikers, about hikers, for everybody.
This is the Hammock Hangers Podcast, where we hang out and talk about everything from hammocks and hammock camping to the group hangs from around the country. Hey everyone, welcome to the Hammock Hangers Podcast, where we unwind, relax, and delve into all things hammock related. Join us as we swing into the world of hammocks, exploring tips and tricks for setting up that perfect hang, sharing stories of outdoor adventures, and discovering the latest trends in hammock camping and relaxation. Whether you're a seasoned hammocker or new to the art of hanging, this podcast is your cozy corner to kick back, escape the hustle and bustle of everyday life, and soak in the soothing atmosphere of the hammock culture. Prepare to be inspired, educated, and entertained as we embrace the hammock lifestyle together. So grab your favorite hammock, find that perfect spot to hang, and let's embark on a hammock-filled journey that will leave you feeling refreshed, rejuvenated, and ready to take on the world. This is the Hammock Hangers Podcast, where every episode is a breath of fresh air. Let's get started. All right, everybody. Welcome to episode number 73 of the Hammock Hangers Podcast.
That's a big number.
Can you believe people have been putting up with us for 73 episodes now?
And I still get like messages all the time asking, hey guys, you going back to once a week? Like, no, not really. But I like that there's people that want us to do it once a week again. But
if I had more time from work with the way that I work right now, there's no way.
There's no way
we would be able to. No.
Yeah.
I mean, 60,
I
70 hours a week.
I miss recording. I miss recording that often, but I don't miss recording that often.
Yeah. I mean, no, I don't know. I enjoyed it, but not with my schedule right now.
Yeah. It would be a hot mess.
Yeah. I would have to record from the job site, probably.
Minor details.
Yeah.
Minor details.
But yeah, so episode 73, we're not far from episode 100.
Yeah.
I think episode 100, I think we need to do something big. I don't know what yet.
We'll definitely do a giveaway. We will definitely do a giveaway for, who knows? 100? We could do a giveaway for episode 75. 3/4 of a century podcast. But yeah, maybe.
We'll see. Definitely 100 though.
Definitely 100.
Definitely episode 100 would do something big.
All right, so Paul, now 5 minutes into our episode. So what are we talking about today?
Well, I was going to ask you the same thing. I know you got a little handy list going over there that we were putting together.
I'm being teacher, which is surprising because my school year is wrapping up. I got to
keep you in practice though.
Yeah, we are packing up school, packing up our dance season with our recital this weekend. School ends next week. Kids, in the loving words of Jesus, get out of my class.
Now, is next week the end of your school also, or do y'all have to stay that extra week after and all that for grading all that?
We are done with full days. We go back on Tuesday. We have students half day Tuesday and Wednesday, and then teachers, just the way that we're doing planning and stuff, we will go all day Thursday and Friday without students, and then Thursday we out. We are out.
Okay, and then, so your last day will actually be the day before everybody's hearing this.
Yeah. So, when this episode airs, I will be in full throttle of season of no pants. That's what I call summer because I refuse to wear pants the entire summer. If it ain't shorts,
why are you putting
I'm not
that image in everybody's heads now?
If they want to picture me with no pants, that's fine. I wear shorts. Like I am in shorts.
Oh my gosh.
The entire summer.
I apologize, everybody.
Parental discretion advised. Hey, I've tried very hard.
Lord.
I've tried very, very hard the last couple of weeks just to not make the paper here. So, it's not worth it at this point.
Well, you run around with no pants on, and you ain't gonna make it.
Yeah. So we're wrapping up school, wrapping up dance, and everything that goes on with that this weekend, and we are going to jump in and go into a mad rush because we are actually leaving on our big summer gallivanting of 2024 on June 6th, and we will be gone for a solid month. And for those of you that haven't listened to the podcast before, my family, both me and my wife are teachers, and we go on a long summer trip every summer. We're gone for about a month, and we're going to be doing it all camping. We hit state parks, we hit national parks, we hit some county parks. If push comes to shove, we end up at like a KOA for like a night, but I really try to avoid those at all costs. And we have a pop-up that my wife and mostly kids sleep in most of the time, and I take hammock stands for the most part because unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, I have to use stands quite a bit at the campgrounds that we're at. Either the tree situation is less than optimal, there are no trees, or just some other factor.
You're not allowed to hang from trees.
Or yeah, you're not allowed to hang from trees at all. Like in Colorado state parks, not national parks, but Colorado state parks, you can't even hang from trees.
Yeah, I remember you saying that last year.
So
refresh us. I think we've talked about it before, or you were in the middle of planning for it anyhow, and wasn't 100% sure. What's your itinerary looking like this year?
So we are leaving on the 6th. We're going to make a stop in North Georgia. Not really for our camping part. We have a new nephew that we are going to go up to see. And he was born a couple weeks ago. Mom and dad are doing great. And that's a whole long story there, but he's kind of a big celebrity in our family right now. So we are going to see him, and we're going to use that as our launch point. Unfortunately, I could not talk my wife into going back out west for a third year in a row, because honestly, I would just beeline it for Montana and Glacier National Park, and that's where I would reside the entire summer and just soak it up. But we are leaving Georgia and going up through Virginia. We are stopping at a campground that I camped at as a kid a few times, Clater Lake State Park. It's right outside Pulaski, Virginia, just for one night. From there, we're leaving there, and we're going to a KOA just outside of Hershey, Pennsylvania, just for one night. And from Hershey, Pennsylvania, we're going to drive up into Vermont and stay at a couple places there, and hop over into New Hampshire. We're going to go to the Stowe area, which I think Stowe is in Vermont, maybe.
Okay.
Stowe, maybe New Hampshire. I forget which one. Stay in that area for a couple of days in a couple different state parks, and hopping over to the in New Hampshire, the Whites. We're going to go to Franconia Notch State Park.
Gorgeous up there.
Yeah, I've never been, so we're actually hitting quite a few states this time that are states that I've never been to. I've never been.
Are y'all going to go up to Mount Washington while you're up there?
Mount Washington. Yes.
It's up in the Whites.
Yes.
You can either
I think we're driving. I think we are driving to the top of Mount Washington.
Yeah, you can either drive to the top, or as far as I know, they have the parking down below as well.
Yeah. Yes, we are.
And you take the train up.
Well, we're not doing the train.
It's like a little coal train. Oh, is it? I don't know.
It was crazy expensive.
Okay.
We are going to drive that because I think that's one of the things that we had to get reservations for, or it kind of might be similar to Pikes Peak, where it ends up being it ends up being probably close to $70, $80, $90 to just drive this road.
Wow.
Because it's a lot. Now, you can him and haw is like, oh, is it worth it there? Like, I think it's stupid cool.
But the top of Washington is neat.
Yeah. We're gonna do that. We're gonna hike the Franconia Ridge Trail.
Okay.
So that'll be probably the longest hike of our trip. I want to say it's somewhere between 7 and 8 miles in that ballpark. So that'll be an all-day hike for us because right now it's going to be my wife and both kids. We'll see if that comes to fruition.
That's going to be a long hike.
That's a long hike.
And the whites. Coming from Florida.
Yes. Now, I think I should be fine. I'm hoping my wife should be fine because, I mean, she did the 14er last summer, so I'm more concerned with my kids than anything. But we'll see. It'll be a grand adventure. And from there, we're going to kind of end our trip, at least the northbound version of our trip, in Acadia National Park in Maine. So that's going to kind of be our pinnacle spot. Our ultimate destination is Acadia National Park, which is also a national park that I have not been to.
Okay. Well, I'm sure. I mean, you're going to be all up along the Appalachian Trail, so I know there's going to be a section of it.
Oh yeah.
That you hike the entire width of.
Oh yeah, I'm planning my through hike of 2025 just for you, just for you all.
Okay.
Maybe I'll actually
video
do it
didn't happen.
In a different state this time.
Just hike from one state to the next.
Maybe not that far. Maybe not that creative.
You can find maybe
because on our way back, we're gonna stop and see some friends of mine. And there's a possibility of us going and making a stop in Shenandoah National Park. Or not.
Okay.
Shenandoah. Shenandoah is a national park.
Yeah.
I don't know why I blinked all that, but
I have no idea.
And the AT runs straight through there. That's kind of a good, it's always, we just end up gravitating toward that area.
It's beautiful there.
North.
Shenandoah is one of my favorite spots along the AT.
Yeah. Either Shenandoah or we had also maybe tossed around the idea of ending up at Grayson Highlands as well.
That's pretty.
Yeah. I have been to Grayson Highlands I've been to Shenandoah before too, and that's kind of my old stomping grounds.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really wish I could have made trail days this year. That would have been really, really nice.
I know everybody was there.
So many people that
had my stepson's graduation though.
What's that?
Had my stepson's graduation.
Minor details.
Yeah, I know.
I had work.
Yeah, I mean that too.
Yeah,
work sucks.
Maybe next year.
I do have to get back up there.
Yeah, and people that have listened to the podcast before may have heard me say this, but I went to college for 4 years, 20 minutes away from Damascus. I played guitar and sang karaoke in the Damascus Old Mill restaurant. Never went to trail days. Never knew the AT went through there. Like really? I knew the Creeper Trail, and even then I didn't do the Creeper Trail until after I was married. But
so you never noticed the big arch sign that they have there that says Appalachian Trail.
Again, hiking wasn't even remotely on my radar in college.
There were a lot of people there though this year. I know Dutch was there, UGQ was there, Jason
there was a really big hammock representation.
Jester was there. I mean, there was a lot of people there.
Yeah, Damascus is a stupid cool town.
Yeah,
and that whole area is really still where my soul calls home. Just man, I would move back in a second. I love it. I love Southwest Virginia. Just love it to death.
I love the mountains.
there's that. I love fall. I miss fall.
Yeah, we don't have that down here.
Yeah, we go from green to dead, and it's not the same. It is not the same.
No.
I would take fall anywhere. I would take fall.
We're already hitting 100 plus degrees.
Yeah, I played tennis this morning at 9 o'clock this morning. It was 91 degrees. And
that was on the thermometer too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's not the real feel.
I didn't feel it necessarily while I was out there, but when I went to my daughter's dance recital rehearsal because they're doing this daddy-daughter dance that I'm doing. And I got home from that and I died. Like I was just exhausted, and I really think it was from the heat.
It was
that morning. So
my wallet is starting to feel it too with this dang air conditioners.
Yeah,
starting to go all the time now.
Yeah, that's true. But enough of our rambling. So we have a lot of really cool things that have happened in the hammock community in the past little bit. Obviously, we've talked about here on the podcast the Danish Outdoor Festival that Paul and I just came back from. Stupid awesome time that we will definitely be back. I'm still wearing, for those of you that were over there, and maybe for the individual that made these as well, I'm still wearing my leather Danish Outdoor Festival bracelet. It's starting to develop a nice little worn leather patina that I'm really, really enjoying. But yeah, it's just kind of like my constant reminder of my Danish friend family group that I've established over there. And man, I can't wait to go back. I cannot wait to go back.
I can't either.
We have so many people tell us about like, oh, they can't wait for HangCon. They can't wait for HangCon. And don't get us wrong. We love the planning. We love everything about doing a HangCon too. But man, HangCon Europe and the Danish Outdoor Festival is my new quote unquote HangCon. Look forward to. My life will revolve around for the next good little bit.
Yeah.
But
it was fun over there.
Yeah. So not only did Danish Outdoor Festival on this side of the creek, we had the Maha event in PA that happened just the weekend before the Danish Outdoor Festival. Looked like a really good time. I know they were doing a new location over there this year with some of the paintball situation they have
paintball
and
airsoft.
There. Yeah, paintball airsoft. That looks like a crazy cool location to do a hammock hang. I really hope that site accommodates them for a number of years. That's one of the blessings and a curse of doing your own hang is finding the location. It's probably the hardest thing, really.
Yeah.
But you really want to see it grow, and you want to see it expand, and you want more and more people to come. But on the flip side, you don't want it to expand. You don't want more people to come because you might have to eventually find a new location just because of more people showing up. But yeah. And our good friend, Carla with a K, did her Bacon Fest just a couple weeks ago. And she said that she had some really awesome bacon dishes, and everybody that came out for that had a really good fun. So I would like to, thank for everybody that participated in those events, and just a special shout out to all the wonderful, amazing individuals that put those hangs on. If you haven't ever planned a hang, it's a special opportunity for you. And so for those folks that organized and put those on, we hear you, we understand your struggle, and thank you so much for your dedication to the hammock community, because it is not something that is taken lightly. So we appreciate you and all that you do.
It does go way past, just the thought of, hey, I want to do a hang. That sounds like it'd be fun.
Yeah.
There's a lot of planning into it.
It's a lot of logistics. A lot of logistics. But not just for the things that have happened in the past. We've got some really great hangs coming up. I did not see any hangs happening in July, which is, I guess, odd for me, I guess. But there are some really nice ones coming up in July. We have July 18th through the 21st. We have the an annual hang at Minister Creek campground in Pennsylvania. And we also have on July 25th through the 28th, PSH Swamp Bud, which will be at Oconee State Park in South Carolina. And all the way into August, I know it seems pretty far away, but trust me, it'll be here before you know it. Neha will be having one of their hangs at the Harold Parker State Park in Massachusetts. So you can check those out at various places on Facebook, as well as hammock forums as well, to get a little bit more information on those. So
I'm sure Dutch has him. I'm sure Dutch has them on his website as well.
Yes,
under the events.
If you check Dutch's website, if you go up to his little drop-down menu and look for resources, it's at the very bottom option for that of hammock hang events or hammock events, something along those verbiage, and it gives you a nice little calendar that has all the hangs that are throughout the year and location and information. It's a really great resource to check that out if you haven't seen it already.
Yeah, definitely check them out. I know every once in a while you have some that are limited to the amount of people that they can have. So some of them, you gotta make sure that you register well beforehand.
And I think it just, we can speak to this too, Paul. Like, even if you think you might come, and you want to, you know that you are coming, it's just great to just let people know, hey, I'm going to be there. So
right.
They can have an idea of how many people that they're planning on, because if you're planning on one number and that number is significantly larger, that's rough.
Yeah.
If you're planning for a particular number and that number is significantly less, that's also rough. So
yeah. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, in another episode.
That's another episode.
But yeah, so if you're looking to get out and try some hangs, we thoroughly encourage you to do that. We always say that the hammock community is just a special diamond in the rough community where if you're looking to make friends, it's kind of hard not to do it at a hammock hang.
Right.
So moving on to our next thing, I want to talk about some new gear that I got.
You got some new gear?
I got some new gear.
No.
Because I make poor financial decisions. Yeah.
So what all did you get?
I don't have a problem.
I think the newest stuff that I got, I think I've already talked about, which was the stuff that I got before going over to Denmark, which was the Majestic hammock and the hammock gear top quilt. Those are my two newest things. But I'm pretty sure I've acquired a few different pieces of gear, some that I've tried and some that I've yet to try yet. But I don't know if it was a good or a bad thing telling you about the hammock hangers.
Yeah.
But
two of the pieces of gear. If you scroll all the way back to the episode that we did with Heather about our new gear for maybe 2022 that we wanted to get, I checked 2 boxes off for that. So.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. So one of the things that I got, if you followed on Facebook, I don't know if I'll put it on our page, but I bought a couple of years ago. I got a Dutch wide xenon winter tarp. It is huge. It is massive. Not quite as big as your behemoth tarp that you have from Valhalla, but it is a massive tarp that my wife was really enthused about using when we went to Denmark, just because it is huge. But I left it out and thought, it should be fine. And we got like a kind of a windstorm. I don't even know if it like rained or whatever, but something happened. I'm not really sure what. And let's just say, I had a tarp. The wind, I don't know if a stake ripped out and punctured it, but it shredded. There was no fixing that tear. So I chose to replace it, and the people from Dutchware were really great working with me to get that not only ordered but also put together and shipped to us so we could take it out to Denmark. And that's what I actually used or that's what my wife used in Denmark. And she absolutely loved it. It worked out wonderfully. She was able to hang her hammock up inside of it. She used my Ridge Runner by the end of it, and it fit a chair in there that she would sit in, and it fit our 2 ginormous check bag luggage suitcases in there, and it was massive, but it totally held up, kept everything dry, and I can't say anything more really awesome about that particular tarp from Dutchware. And while we're talking about Dutchware, I have a quilted chameleon that I have nothing but really, really wonderful things to say about. I already own two other insulated hammocks, and the chameleon is different than those two, and it has kept me warm. I actually did use that when we went to the Danish Outdoor Festival in Denmark, and it performed wonderfully. I only had to change a couple different things on there, and that's just out of my personal preference that I do for all of my chameleons. I changed out the continuous loops just because I don't like continuous loops. I like universal loops so much better, but that's fine. And for me, I always change out the ridgeline of the chameleons. I'm not a huge fan of a really thin Zingit ridgeline. I want an Amsteel one. And that may just harken back to the fact when my butt was a lot bigger and I needed something to grab onto to pull myself up out of the hammock. But I don't know. There's just something about an Amsteel ridgeline that I like a little bit better than a Zingit one. But I also like shorten the ridgeline. I want to say maybe 2 inches, 2 or 3 inches from the original one that Dutch has in there. I just like a little bit more sag than the length that he does on his. But I've actually found out that I did that for my Warbonnet XLCs when I was using those. Actually, I think I shortened that one quite a bit more. Trying to think if there was another hammock that I ended up doing that for as well. I want to say there was, but I just like a shorter ridgeline. But as far as like the chameleon itself, it's I mean, I own like 6 of them already. But the major difference is the fabric. I really was impressed with the lack of the stitching being stretched, and I'm fully well aware that I'm just getting, this is kind of new to me, but some of the other insulated hammocks that I have, when you're in the hammock, the fabric does stretch a little bit where it's actually stitched into the hammock, but you really couldn't see any of that with the chameleon. I really like the feel of the Dobby fabric, and it's really trippy too. It looks a little weird on the outside, and it almost looks like it should have a plasticky feel, but it really doesn't. It has a really nice hand feel. And if I was to say, if I was looking at using a gathered in full time, which I think if we were hiking, I probably would. If I was looking to go as light as I possibly could, I probably would look at something like that. But that definitely would be on my short list of the go-to hammocks, because just that no fiddle factor under quilt or for that is just a game changer.
See, that would be nice, the no fiddle factor and stuff. But my go-to right now is still going to be the Majestic, just because of the way that it lays and the way that it feels. I don't know. I still can't explain it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Do I need another hammock? No, but I'm pretty sure that I'll be adding a Majestic hammock to my arsenal probably by the end of the year.
Yeah, I don't get it. It's like in between a bridge hammock and a gathered end hammock. It's not your normal. It's not your normal gathered end hammock. And I can't explain it on how it lays and feels.
Yeah, I was interested to see because I haven't used a gathered in hammock continuously for a long trip in probably a year and a half.
Yeah.
And so I was interested to see like, oh, well, this is a new hammock, not really a new hammock, but I haven't laid the gathered in for the whole thing. And with the way the quilted chameleon is with the one direction of the insulation, it's not my normal way that I would lay in a hammock. So I was like, well, we'll see how that works
out. What do you
normally
lay? You normally what?
I normally
lay
head left, feet right.
Okay.
And all the chameleons are head right, feet left.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not really. I can lay either way. It's not like I'm strictly locked in, but I didn't have any problem. I slept wonderfully comfortable, wonderfully warm the entire thing. I have nothing but really, really great things to say. Plus, if you own a chameleon, that the bug net and the winter cover that has the spreader bars in it, kind of like Clark-esque bars, that was a piece of gear that I did not know that I needed until I had it.
Really?
That was really, really nice. Being able to zip it and it automatically opens up. It's not just flapping in your face. It's really easy to get in the hammock without having to worry about sitting on the net and like ripping it. And even if you're just looking out, especially if you were having coffee in the morning and you just want to kind of lean out and make your coffee and sit there, that little spreader bar just lifts it right on up. It's a nice little window, keeps it out of your face. You just zip it up and it just the spreader bar is super, super thin and flexible. So it's not bulky. It bends really nice. It's flexible. It was really nice. I didn't think that, when it first came, I was like, oh, that's cool. Yeah. I don't know if I would use it, but no.
Yeah, I am waiting.
I really like it.
I am waiting for Dutch. He keeps teasing me with that Clark Ultralight because he knows how I am with Clark hammocks as well.
Yeah.
And so he's been teasing me for the past 2 years, 2 HangCons. He's like, hey, you do know that I'm going to be coming out with a Clark Ultralight. It's like, quit teasing me, Dutch. Just.
He's pretty bad about teasing because he does come up with some really great stuff.
Yeah.
But the quilted chameleon, if you're in the market for and you're looking at a chameleon, it gets my stamp of approval. It's a great piece of gear. It is a great piece of gear.
My stamp is still the Majestic.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah. Like you said, I don't know what it is about it. It's just something different. And
yeah, you laid in one, but
I did.
I've slept in one for a while. I'm gonna be doing. Whenever I have the extra time, gonna be doing a video just to show some of the features and everything of it. Just talk about it some.
Yeah, that's something that I'm definitely planning on doing a lot this summer. Is doing a lot of videos. So, if you want to follow along with our trip and maybe some other gear shenanigans and tips and tricks, go over to our YouTube channel and give us a like and give us a subscribe if you're looking to follow along. We're going to be releasing a lot of content this summer when I have some free time, and we'll be off and about on our travels, and we'll have a few episodes of our adventure vlog series. So head over to YouTube and give us a like and a subscribe for that. If YouTube is not where you listen to this podcast, we do release some videos and stuff like that too. So
we got the Europe video over there, just in case there's anybody that don't follow us and hadn't heard about it or seen it.
I think watching that, I became a little bit more comfortable listening to my own voice. per se. I wouldn't say I'm comfortable with it, but I'm getting more comfortable with it.
Yeah, I've been numb to it for a while.
Well, most people are. My students definitely are.
That's funny.
But for the meat and potatoes of this episode, we kind of also want to kind of time travel back and talk about the Danish Outdoor Festival, but Danish Outdoor Festival 2025, because as we say growing up, Lord willing and the creek don't rise. We and Paul will definitely be back next year. However, if you were looking to possibly make the trip over there as well, we want to give you some things that you should know, some things that you should definitely do, and also some things that we will never ever do again, that we did but we will not do. So
yeah,
luckily there's a lot of things that we did do right, but there are just some certain things that we live and learn. But as you have heard us say, it was an amazing trip. And if you think that even remotely this is something that you are interested in, let me be the first to encourage you. Just make the plunge. You're only going to live once, and traveling is something that will stick with you for a long, long while. Yeah, you can buy more gear or you can buy other things, and that's only going to, be great for like a little bit, but an experience is just so much more fulfilling long term.
I'm kind of addicted to it now.
Yeah,
I can't
the
wait
travel bug for me
to get out there and do it again.
Hard this year.
I want to jump on another plane and just fly somewhere. And I mean, that was my first time ever being on a plane.
You did so good, Paul. You did good.
I loved the window seat. I loved the window seat.
I wanted to make sure that you got the window seat. I didn't expect to be having breakfast or a lemon loaf thrown at us about 12 minutes before landing, but there's that. But yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. That was a different flight though.
So we have a kind of a list of some do's and don'ts related to not only just the Danish Outdoor Festival, but just also international travel as well, that we have kind of picked up just from our experience for this year. And, we'll probably do something again because I'm sure there'll be some lessons in future travels.
Oh, yeah.
Spoiler alert, that we're going to be doing in the next few years. And it might be interested to go back for us and, look back and say, hey, this is what we said do. But 3 years from now, we're like, no, actually don't do that. But this is what our experience teaches us now.
Yes.
So one of the things that, especially this kind of relayed mostly to my wife, but pack easy food to get to for not just the plane ride, but also the arrival. So it's not like a stadium where you can't bring any food whatsoever. You can bring certain foods with you that you can kind of take out and nibble and on your personal item and your carry-on. Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches are really, really great. You can't bring a whole jar of peanut butter and a whole jar of jelly, but you can have those
make a sandwich
peanut butter sandwiches that you could take. I was, when prepping to go over it, I was reading this thing about this guy that was going to bring like a loaf of bread and a jar of peanut butter and a jar of jelly just to do. And they're like, no, you can't bring, it's more than 2 ounces of liquid. So he literally went to a place in the airport and made like 20 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. It just stuffed him in his
And that
bag.
was fine.
Yeah. It's like, stick it to the man.
Loophole.
So the reason being for that is food when you are traveling is always iffy at best. We had a really long layover in Toronto, and we definitely want to say, if you're traveling, try some of the local delicacies. However, airport food is maybe not the area that you want to expand your palate on. It's also stupid expensive.
For
So
what it is, yeah.
for what it is, yeah.
It's like going to
So
Disney World, really.
yeah, it's equivalent to Disney. It is equivalent to Disney, and I would just say save your money for like a legit local place at your destination.
Or a
Not
rooftop restaurant.
there's that. So yeah,
Yeah.
pack granola bars. Sometimes you can go to a restaurant or even a place like a coffee place in an airport. You can get hot water or boiling water, even like a freeze dried meal. You can get hot water or boiling water, just pour that in there, mix it up. You've got a meal, and it's going to be light. It's going to be packable, and it'll be something that when you've been up for 24 hours and you haven't had anything to eat except for a lemon loaf that was thrown at you 12
I
minutes
didn't even get
before
a lemon
landing. And
loaf.
yes, I'm saying that again, because it still just blows my mind. Or if there happens to be a food workers strike in Canada and your airline cannot get food, you can have something to eat. So, because I know some people, myself and my wife included, if we get hangry, some of us get violent when we get
Yeah,
hangry.
I do too. I get a little ornery.
Yeah, yeah, you do. Love you.
Shut up.
But something that we didn't cover, my wife when we were in Denmark, like after like eating or not eating, and then we got that amazing stew, and just the stresses and this and the other. She that next morning after we'd gotten up at the Viking thing, that she had a hard time. She had a hard time.
Yeah.
Her back was bothering her too, so her body went through basically a physical reset, and it was better after that. But yeah, pack some food. Pack some
That
food.
stew.
Oh, that stew.
You had to mention the stew, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. It was so good. It was really good. So Paul, your next one is kind of a bougie option. It doesn't necessarily work for us peasants in the community.
Well, no, I will save up. I will save up. I know I have a year to do it. I will save up. Okay. The flight was fine. It was my first flight. Didn't know what to expect or anything like that. So did I make it? Sure, I made it. But when you're in the center row and you're in like the second seat in of 4 seats, and you're having to do everything like a T-Rex with your elbows tucked and everything. Yeah. And not being able to lean back, and I've got lower back issues as well. So, having to sit straight up in those seats, was not the most comfortable. So I've got a whole year that I'm going to be putting back for. And anytime from here on out that I fly international, anyhow, will either be first class or at a minimum business class, where you got a little more room and a seat that lays back and all that stuff. It would have been nice to be able to lay back and nap. Every time I would shut my eyes on our flight from Toronto to Copenhagen, I'd finally doze off a little bit, and then somebody would walk by, and at that time I was on the outside, seat. So I kept getting hit every time somebody would walk by. Whether it be one of the flight attendants or the guy that was sitting kind of front caddy corner to us that kept having to get up and go back to the back for whatever reason. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if that particular. That was a rough flight. Let's just be real. That was a rough flight for a lot of different reasons. But I wonder if, because that was an overnight flight, which I would have thought would be better, but it was when you can't sleep. I don't know. It was the flight coming back from Zurich to Chicago, the flight itself, even though it was technically during the day, which it was a 10-hour. Yeah, it's hard to explain just with the time difference, but it was times that we normally would be awake. It was surprisingly easier for me physically to do than the one that we did overnight.
Yeah. I mean, I was still cramped some. I mean, you were on the outside at that time. And it's just, I don't know, just having it's me, I guess. I mean, I try not to disturb anybody else. So, Dawn was sitting to my right. I didn't want to bump her and disturb her. And then had, somebody else to my left and, didn't know that person. So I definitely didn't want to, bump into her or anything. It's just, I don't know. It's just me, my OCD, I think. I don't know, something.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I'll be bougie. I don't care. I will be bougie.
You can be bougie.
I will be.
I was just excited. Like non-scale victory. I had like a foot of extra seatbelt room in my strap. Like for as a former bigger person, as you like to say, like that is huge, because the last time that I flew, well, I was huge, and there was definitely not an ounce of room that I remember. I had flown up to Virginia, maybe for I think my parents were still living. So we had flown up for their wedding renewal, and I got the belt buckle like latched, but it was like cutting off circulation to the lower part of my body. This time I was like, what? I have like a foot of extra strap here. Like, this is so, like, this is not bad. So I guess I just looked at it very differently, but yeah.
Well, I mean, if I'm just flying, here in the States and it's only going to be like a couple of hour flight, I'm not going to spend the extra money for first class. It's only going to be a couple of hours. I can suck it up for a couple of hours. It was just the whole international, 10 and a half, 12 hours of flying.
Right.
Yeah, it got uncomfortable for me. Yeah, several times, just mainly because of my lower back.
Yeah, I would say that was probably the worst part of it was my back. I did take my one of my camping pillows that I took out, and I didn't use it behind my head. I actually stuck it behind my seat to act as like a lumbar pillow. And
did that help?
Yeah, do that. If that
I couldn't get to my camp pillow. My camp pillow was packed away somewhere. It was packed away in your suitcase. That's right.
Oh yeah, and that's where it still resides. Kind of like my GoPro is at your house. Yeah.
Yeah, I traded AJ a camp pillow for a GoPro. So I don't know. I don't know who's ahead on this one.
Maybe slightly. So some of the things that we will, well, let's go. We've done 2 do's. Here's a don't. If you have the opportunity to fly into Chicago O'Hare, immediately go and change your itinerary.
Yes.
That was it was a rough flight, especially flying international into Chicago. It was a rough experience. I was seriously thinking that Dawn was going to have a nervous breakdown.
I was seriously thinking I was going to be arrested in Chicago.
I was pretty fearful that you were going to start an international crisis. And here I am trying to balance both of you out, thinking to myself, there is only enough positive energy in myself for one of you, and y'all are about to lose it on me.
I was about to lose it on everybody. Look, we were gone for an entire week. Okay. That entire week I had zero stress. I don't think I cussed one time. I was just calm and mellow. We fly back. We touch down in Chicago. We get out. And that just all went away.
Yeah,
from
there
that
was
point
definitely
on.
like 5 international flights
There
that
was
connected to that
It was
airport
either 5 or 6
at
international
like one
flights
time.
coming in. They all come in at different areas, but they all come together into the one corral line that
Yeah,
goes up
we're not even
to
talking about customs. We're talking about immigration. Like we're not
yes,
even to customs yet.
no. And then I finally get up to the line, okay, or the front, and I'm like 3 people back. And there's a guy in there, showing his passport and everything. Guy and his wife, I think. And the lane next to me, there's a couple waiting, and they're next to go in to theirs. The guy in our line makes it through. They jump over into our line and go through. And me and the lady behind us, I mean, I can't say everything that we said.
I can only imagine.
Yes.
Because I know how you were when we actually got on the plane. Which I mean, that was the only flight over that we did not get to sit together. You and Dawn got to sit together.
Close, anyhow, yeah.
Close, yes.
Yeah, she was in front of me like a row. But yeah. But me and that lady, we kind of looked at each other like, well, what in the world? And the lady that was behind them in the other lane, she turns around, she goes, oh, they had a connecting flight they had to get to.
Yes, us.
I was like, lady, we all have freaking connecting flights that we have to get to, and now I'm fixing to be late, and I'm not going to be happy.
Yeah,
I almost missed it. I almost missed our flight.
Yeah, it was.
If I had been stuck in Chicago airport,
it would not have been a pleasant experience
for anybody. No,
yes,
no, it wouldn't have.
So that I think that's a great segue to like our first tip. When we were looking at connecting flights or whatever, we were looking at some of our layover times, and most of our layover times were about 2 hours. I would suggest if you have connecting flights, especially a connecting flight after going international, that you allow yourself a good 3 hours of a layover. Because when you come back in, you have to go through immigration, you have to go through customs, and you have to go through security. That is 3 long line sections that you're going to have to go through in order to get onto your connecting flight. I don't care if it's
not to mention
flight into domestic.
Not to mention having to grab your luggage just to move from one place to another.
Yeah, if you have a check bag, that's another step that you have to get. So coming back internationally, or maybe we didn't have too much issue going to international, but that was like a 7-hour layover. But yeah, coming back, especially your first trip going international to a different country where you have to go through immigration and customs and along those lines, give yourself a good solid 3 hours, because you never know. Maybe the Chicago O'Hare was a fluke. However, everybody that I've talked to seems to be like, yeah, it says I'm surefire.
Stay away from it.
So it seems to be a pretty common thing for that airport.
There was no organization there.
Yeah, it was really rough. But yeah, so 3-hour layovers for international flights coming back. Definitely do that.
Unless you get a straight flight, which is what I will try next time.
Yeah, we're going to be looking at some straight flights because we can fly out of Tampa straight to Copenhagen.
I think you can from Orlando too, from what I've heard.
Yeah,
I think Delta is one that's a straight flight.
I think since we flew over Orlando last year, last time, I think we'll just bounce back and forth. We'll fly out of Tampa next year. You can stay at my house, Paul.
Yay.
Something else that I would suggest to do, I paid for it going over. I did not pay for it going back. I would suggest skipping the Wi-Fi on the plane. It was like $30 for our flight going over. I did pay for it going over.
You didn't share?
Well, yeah, I couldn't. It was like a Wi-Fi like specific thing. I wouldn't have been able to share, although the bandwidth was really, really crappy. So I would suggest loading up your device, or bringing something that
Well, they got movies and stuff that you can watch, though.
They do have movies you can watch. I'm not a big movie person, although I'd much rather watch something, but maybe like in small increments. So I actually had what did I watch? Well, I tried to like put some stuff when we were going over, but the Wi-Fi was just really crappy and it wouldn't work. But I watched I think Shogun, the television series Shogun. I got to like 7 episodes through there on the way back. I had some Game of Thrones that I was watching, and I think Peaky Blinders was another show that I was watching as well.
I heard of that one.
I tried to like do some games and stuff too, but the internet connection with the games that I was playing, my wife brought her Kindle, so books are really, really good.
Definitely have stuff on your phone or whatever, because, and I will say that because on the flight from Canada to Copenhagen, the wonderful flight that we had, section, when they had to, we were late leaving, and then they had to shut the plane down to reset the computers. And we sat there on the plane for 20, 25 minutes in the heat with no air conditioning, most of the screens on the back of the seats didn't even come back up. So there wasn't a whole lot of watching TV then.
Yeah, you can't really rely on that, because I mean, like you said, some flights were better than others. That, I would definitely suggest bringing some sort of power brick. When you do travel, some airlines are really, really picky on the maximum capacity of your power brick. I think it can't be over like 20.
I think it's 20,000.
20,000. Because
milliamps,
we didn't have any trouble going over, but I did notice on the flights back, all the airports that we were in did not have charging ports in the waiting areas. And even the ones when we were in Toronto, we found an area in the what's the word that I'm looking for? In the area that we were gonna boarding area, they worked, and we were able to charge our devices and stuff like that. But for a lot of them, just didn't work. They were broken or out of date. So I would just say, as just a precaution, if you're traveling, just take a power brick if you are going to be using your device or your phone or tablet, just so make sure you have that charge. Also, one of our flights, I was able to charge on the plane, but some of the other ones I weren't. So again, that's kind of a crapshoot to whatever flight that you get as well.
Right.
Another thing that I would say was a big savior for us, Google Translate is awesome.
I like Google Translate.
Yeah, Google Translate helped us a lot when we went to the market and we had no idea what we were seeing or what we were ordering. It worked really, really great for the restaurant as well that didn't have a menu in English. We were able to just scan it, and then boom, Google Translate did that for us.
Do the translate to the camera.
Yeah.
The instant translate.
It was really, really, really nice.
We did not look like tourists at all.
Yeah,
we did not look like tourists at all.
Yeah. I think that the one of the greatest moments that I don't think we fully captured in the video was when we get to our hotel in Copenhagen and we're hungry, we're tired, we're dirty, and we just kind of throw on what remnants of clean clothes or clean-ish clothes that we have, and we're just looking for restaurants. Everything is closed except the really, really ritzy sushi place at the top floor of our hotel. And we go up there looking like the Clampetts coming into Beverly Hills, and it is just, everybody's dressed up nice, and here
we had just come wandering out of the woods.
Yeah.
Dragging luggage behind us too. I wish I could caught that on video too, but
oh man, well, we drug our luggage out. That was, man.
Poor hobo was coming out of the woods
now. in the moment, we weren't necessarily laughing. Also, dragging our luggage, looking like a dilapidated version of Mario Kart through Copenhagen, and hitting cobblestone streets with our mini wheels of our luggage, and trying not to take out people's ankles or our own ankles, and yeah, that was an adventure. But
Lord.
well, that's a nice little transition to kind of our next thing that I personally will be doing next year. I will not be checking a bag next year. Not only was I think I want to say it was about $200 in check bag fees each way.
For you?
I think it was.
I mean, you get the first one for free.
I think it was. I think it was about $100 a bag each way.
Yeah, the first one is free though. So you had the hive, and you had.
Oh, the first one was not free.
No. I didn't have to pay for my check.
Oh, I did.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't pay for my check.
I'll have to double check, but I think
double check, because I was allowed one checked bag, and then one carry on and one personal. But I just didn't have my personal.
Yeah, I want to say coming.
But you do have to make sure that you know the dimensions of your carry on as well.
Yes,
because they do have those metal jigs that they'll have you put your luggage in, and it has to fit in there. If not, you're gonna have to check it.
Yeah, I was very, very happy with my choice of personal item and underseat bag that I took. Like I think with knowing what I know now, I could fit everything that I would need for the trip within those two bags. Looking at what I brought that I actually used and the things that I didn't use that I brought, with everything else, I think I could totally make that work with just my two bags.
What are you going to do about some of the stuff that you, like what we were talking about earlier, like the tent stakes and stuff like that?
Yeah, it honestly, but also like the knife that we were given while we were over there.
It had to be unchecked.
Honestly, I would maybe mail it back. I would find a post office and mail it back, just because I think for me, that extra level or that extra step at every single place was just a pain in the butt. Also, hauling those suitcases everywhere. Into the woods, yes. If you've ever had the experience of going on a backpacking trip, carrying along a checked luggage bag, it is not a pleasant experience, especially if it's been raining for 3 days and the roads are all mud, or you're rolling that one through, or you're rolling your bag through cobblestone streets. It is not a pleasant experience. So
we did not think it through.
Not a pro-life choice. So yeah. For me, next year, only carry on and personal items.
I could probably do that. I mean, and we'll just ship over the tent stakes.
Yeah, now that I know that I don't need a stand, and hopefully a lot of our wonderful cottage vendors will be joining us next year. We won't. One of the things that I definitely wanted to bring over was some of the gear from our cottage vendors to showcase off, just because I love our cottage vendors and I want them to get as much exposure as they can.
Well, yeah. I know you and I sat there and went back and forth on what you was bringing, what I was bringing, so that we could kind of spread out the love of all the different vendors that we have. So I mean, we represented, of course, Dutch and Walhalla and
Yobo
gear and Yobo and Trailheads and
Loco Libre.
You had one of Superior's over there, didn't you?
Yeah, I had a Superior. Yeah.
Yeah. We tried to take a little bit of it. We tried to take something from everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, even all the way down to the birch buckles from Anne Marie.
Yeah.
So,
but that required a check back. And
yeah.
I love you all, but I encourage you all to come over because the folks there really loved our gear, and I think you would do really well as a vendor over there. Hint, hint, wink, wink.
Yes.
American cottage vendors.
Every one of them. That's what they all mentioned. Said everyone that we talked to said that whatever they bring, they would not be going home with.
Yeah. I can't tell you how much or how many times I was offered to buy my setup right then and there.
Yeah.
We could have sold all the gear that we brought over there. Now, all that gear is our personal gear, so that's probably not going to happen. But they were willing to pay us more than what we paid for it, if they could just take it. Because,
well, look at the majestic hammock that Corey made for Shug.
Yeah, Shug didn't even get it.
Shug hadn't even got it. Corey has to make him another one.
What a great story that is. What a great story that is.
That was a neat story.
So, now as far as just Copenhagen in general, and just the trip, or the Danish Outdoor Festival, if you're looking for like the type of insulation, I would definitely say a 20-degree underquilt, you should be perfectly set. Top quilt, maybe a 40-degree. We were looking at temperatures in the upper 30s and low 40s at night. And during the day, anywhere between the 50s and the 60s. They don't have a huge temperature swing too much between the days and the nights, which was kind of cool and kind of weird at the same time. But a 20 and a 40, I think, would be adequate for what our experience was this year.
Yeah, I think I've done 20 and 20 myself because I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah. I want to say my quilted chameleon's a 40, and I was roasty toasty warm the whole time. And I did take my Loco Libre 30-degree that I just got, and shout out to George. I love it. I love that top quilt.
I love my Loco Libres. Yeah, I had my 20-degree. The 20-degree hammock gear underquilt, and then my Loco Libre 20-degree top, which, like you said a second ago, I probably would have been fine with my 40-degree Loco Libre.
Yeah, I'd rather be extra warm than cold, especially the type of cold that we would have been because it was rainy and it would have been a wet cold.
I figured that, if I got too hot, I could kick that off. If I took my 40 and wasn't warm enough, I'd, You
don't want to be like those people that sit up next to Shug.
Oh, poor people. I still hope that they don't.
I wanted to just give them a hug. Like, oh, bless your heart.
I hope that they don't give up on hammock camping. I mean, they literally had no idea what they were doing.
No.
And that was their first time ever out. And they just they didn't research prior to.
If that would have been HangCon US, we would have had them like.
Well, yeah, we would have had all of our stuff there.
As, like, this is a dangerous situation, and we would have had them geared like that. Unfortunately, we didn't have the ability to do that over there. But yeah, I like you said, I hope it doesn't give them a sour taste in their mouth for hammock camping, because there's much better ways to do it.
I'm hoping that when they woke up and they decided to go home because they were cold and everything else, that they looked around and saw all the other hammocks there and that everybody was still warm and sleeping and knew, hey, we done something wrong.
I hope so. I don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
They sounded, I have no idea what they were saying, but they sounded like they were just looking to get out of Dodge.
Probably. I'm sure they were freezing. I mean, they had no underquilts. Did they even have any top quilts that you saw?
They may have had some sleeping bags, but like I get cold just thinking about them right now. But some transferring over to just some things that you should know about the Danish Outdoor Festival. It did rain on us quite a bit, so there was a lot of mud. So just kind of keep that in mind. It is kind of a rainy season for them. So playing for some mud. It was a lot of mud, but I mean, they seem to be.
It starts out as grass, which is
was
you look at
like
that and you don't think it's gonna be that big of a deal, but after how many 26,000 people traipsing through it, the grass disappears into the mud.
Yeah, I that was one of the things. Looking back at Shug's video and our video, you just look back and go, "Oh yeah, there was grass there." By the
Once
end,
upon
there was
a time.
no grass there. But just kind of be aware. Rain gear. It wasn't. It was never any like treacherous downpours or anything.
It was just enough to get you wet.
Just enough to get you wet.
Enough to get you wet, and enough for a really good nap.
Yeah. Oh man, it was perfect sleeping rain. It was a perfect sleeping rain. Now, as far as facilities and stuff for the Danish Outdoor Festival, they did have some portable bathrooms, but they were possibly some of the nicest portable bathrooms that I've ever been in. And considering there were 26,000 people there, I would not have known that by looking at the bathrooms.
Right. They did keep them clean.
Relatively clean.
Now they are unisex bathrooms too. Keep that in mind.
They are
unisex over in Europe.
They are very, very tiny. They're in a kind of a portable, not as an individual portable porta johns. They have hand washing stations in them. They are not handicap accessible, which was just interesting and different.
I don't think they have the whole ADA thing like we do over here.
I noticed that for but both when we were in Copenhagen and there as well. So again, just the more you know. They do have bathrooms, but they do not have shower facilities. Now, I did hear a rumor. I don't know if this was actually the case, but in the place where they had the festival, there was a kind of a rec center, a kind of a YMCA, for lack of a better term, in the town that you could go and pay a fee and take a shower. But I mean, a wash rag and you just kind of wipe off. It's just for a weekend. So, I mean, we were fine. We were a little stinky, but when we got to the hotel, we did shower before we went to the fancy sushi place.
Yeah.
So we didn't smell bad, but we just looked kind of janky. But hey, just as a the more you know kind of situation.
The food was good. That's all I cared about.
Yeah, the food was amazing. If you go, eat local. You're going to eat something different. That's fine. You're going to like some things. You're not like some things. Just, I encourage you to just eat and just explore something new. Get out of your element. Kind of embrace the awkward. And that's something that neither Paul and I do very, very well, but we really went head first into this. And I think because we did that, it made our trip so much better.
Well, I figured, there's things over here that's like, I'll look at it and no, I don't want that. It's gross or whatever. But over there, it's like, I don't know. It's one of those things that I had in my mind. It's like, okay, I'm not, this is all new to me. It's all new food and everything. I'm going to try it. I'm either going to like it or I'm not going to like it. Fortunately, Christian was trying to find something that we did not like. He failed miserably at that because everything that they gave us was awesome. Which all that can be seen in our video too. If you haven't watched it, just go over to YouTube and search it up, watch the video, and you'll see all the food that we're talking about. Even down to the hotel breakfast food, AJ.
Oh man. The hotel breakfast food. I will definitely, now that I know what that situation looks like, I will definitely be prepaying for that hotel breakfast, because I was kind of just expecting kind of the breakfast of sadness that most American hotel breakfasts are.
Yeah.
But it was amazing. I would have paid for the breakfast if I had nothing. I got my money's worth just of the amount of coffee that I drink that morning because it was really, really nice. And it was the fanciest breakfast buffet that I've ever been to. And it
all
was,
your
I mean,
pastries
it
and
was
cheeses and
relatively
meats.
cheap considering. Yeah.
I didn't think that it was bad.
No, it was nice. And they had plenty of food. I'm gonna actually wake up. That's actually one of the things that I'm looking forward to next year. Is that I will get up early and I will just sit down there and I will drink cup and cup.
I think
After cup.
next year, me and Deanna's gonna go. Deanna's gonna go over with me,
Mm-hmm.
and she probably won't stay for the festival. So we're probably gonna go over like a week before, and spend about a week in Copenhagen, and then after that week, then she'll be coming back here, and I'll be getting on the train and going to the festival. But yeah, oh my gosh, just the food over there. I'm now addicted to sushi too, by the way.
So one of the things that we had kind of looked at and we were wondering about when we were planning our trip is because they do the Danish krone. I want to say is their currency.
Yes. Yeah,
but
it is.
we never did have to go and do a currency exchange. I think there was only one vendor that, because they were having some issues with their digital thing that needed the actual Danish currency, but everything else, Google Wallet, Apple Pay, Samsung,
your normal
Wallet.
debit card.
Yeah, even
normal debit card auto,
just tap and pay. It was super easy.
Yeah, it converts it for you.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice. So yeah, I would say not have to worry about that, and that was, if that's something that you're concerned about. And probably one of the last things that we'll say that we do: record your journey in some way, shape, or form.
Record as much as possible.
Yeah, take pictures, do videos. I kind of usually err on the side of not taking as much videos because I hate experiencing things through the back of a camera. But I'm glad that we took as many pictures that we did and made as many videos as we did, and probably next year we'll do more, just because it is really cool to go back and watch and being able to put yourself back in that moment again, especially since it was such an amazing trip for us. So
yeah, I mean, it's funny, even with as much recording and everything that we did between myself and you and Don, there's still, whenever I was putting the video together and all that, and even now just thinking back, there's things that I wish that we had gotten. I wish that as we were leaving the woods, I had walked up and, set the camera up just to catch us walking out, dragging our luggage through the forest, looking like four hobos,
I was kind of bummed that we didn't get any video of them kicking us out of first class.
Taking us out
on the train.
I know, right?
Yeah. So one of the things that we did that we didn't talk about, when we got on the train going from the festival to Copenhagen, it's not something we normally do. So we hop on, and even I'm thinking, like, gosh, this looks really nice for like a public transit, but whatever.
Really nice, and we're the only ones here.
Yeah. So we get maybe 20 minutes down the track.
Not even, probably not even.
Probably not even. And the conductor comes in like tickets, and so we showed him our ticket. And he's like, you all aren't supposed to be here. You're supposed to be at regular. It's like, oh, well, this explains it now. And so we get.
I think at that point he knew. At that point he knew that we were tourists and kind of lost and had no idea what we were doing. So he kept an eye on us to let us know where we were getting off at.
He was really, really cool. We didn't get thrown off the train or anything. So, but yeah,
I do like your idea of getting him involved and having him kind of throw us out.
We could have like really milked that situation.
Yeah.
But
no, they're all super nice over there though. So
yeah, and I think probably my last little definitely do is explore Copenhagen while you're there. I think it's the only major airport in Denmark, so you're going to fly into there. Copenhagen has one of the coolest feels of any city that I've ever been to. It's really, really pretty to see. It's really, really clean. It's really, really safe. Explore Copenhagen. I wish we had given ourselves maybe an extra day for Copenhagen.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's why we're going to go over a week early next year.
Yeah, we packed so much into that one day, and I think we did a really good job with that.
Yeah.
But man.
We did a lot of walking. That's something else that I thought was neat is, I mean, how busy it was over there with with all the people and everything, but it didn't feel, I don't know, I didn't get the anxiety like I do here.
Yeah, it felt busy, but not like
in
a
busy
metropolitan
places.
rush like you would see in like Atlanta or
Orlando or something like that. Yeah.
Orlando. Yeah. And everybody just felt kind of chill. Like everybody was just outside, and you just, like, they intentionally went to go and sit by the river. There were people swimming in the river. That still just kind of blows my mind. You have a major river running through a metropolitan city, and it's clean enough to swim right through. And and I will say, like, this is kind of a random fact that kind of blew my mind. The water out of the tap at the hotel tastes better than most of the bottled water that we get here in the States. It was super clean, and it tasted amazing.
Yep.
But
the people, people over there would just go out to sit and read a book, or I saw a couple of people just out there. They would go out there and just sit there and relax. And I think a couple of people ended up falling asleep and taking a nap while they were out there, which I could have done that, but
I could have totally set up my hive like right by the river and just lounged out.
Without a doubt.
So many like pretty flowers, and I want to say the one thing that Dawn didn't get to do that she really, really wanted to do. She really wanted to have dinner at one of those cafes when we took the boat tour, when we were walking by some of those cafes. She really wanted to do that. But there's always next year.
I mean, I'll have to wait until next year. You can always go early.
We have other adventures that we have planned before this.
This is true.
Man, I can't wait to go back. I really cannot wait to go back.
Hopefully between HangCon here, HangCon there, and then things that we have brewing in our heads.
Yeah, we got a few.
We might stay busy.
We got a few kettles in the fire that we're working on, so we're not quite ready to release any of that information quite yet.
Another episode.
So stay tuned.
Another episode.
But yeah, so let's close this out, and I just want to kind of reiterate, if you guys have questions on our experiences or have questions about the Danish Outdoor Festival, send us an email, drop us a line on Facebook, or send us a message on Instagram, comment on the YouTube video. We really want to try to encourage people and ease any fears of like international travel. It really was a smooth transition. Any of our major faults in the grand scheme of things were really, really minor, with the exception of Chicago. That was pretty rough. But yeah, it's a great opportunity, and it's something that I strongly encourage everyone to do at least once.
Exactly. So, all right. Well, if that's all you got, AJ, I guess all I've got is just make sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Watch our watch the videos, like, subscribe, whatever all that has to be done. The more subscribers and stuff that we get over on YouTube opens up more stuff for us to be able to do. It's weird. They require certain amounts of watch hours and subscribers and all that to be able to do certain stuff. But so yeah, make sure to share with your friends to get them to subscribe as well, because once we hit certain milestones, we're going to start doing some probably some giveaways and stuff like that. Start doing some lives to do some giveaways. But anyhow, I guess that's pretty much it. So until next time, happy hanging, everyone. As we gently sway out of another hammock field episode, we want to thank you, our wonderful listeners, for hanging out with us on the Hammock Hangers podcast. We hope that you have found relaxation, inspiration, and a renewed sense of connection to nature through our discussions. Remember to keep that hammock spirit alive in your daily life, whether it's by taking a few moments to unwind in your own backyard oasis, or by planning your next hammock adventure in the great outdoors. Embracing the tranquility, embracing the simplicity, and never forget the joy that comes from simply hanging around. Before we part ways, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay up to date with all things hammock related. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search for the Hammock Hangers Podcast. Your support means the world to us, and we can't wait to hang with you again on our next episode. Until then, stay relaxed, stay adventurous, and keep on hanging those hammocks high. From all of us here at the Hammock Hangers Podcast, we wish you peaceful hangs and endless relaxation. Thank you for tuning in. Happy hanging, everyone.